Hey, future applauders. Do you like talking about movies? Like smart movies? Dumb movies? Science fiction movies? Horror movies? Fantasy movies?
Do you like listening to people talk about a movie longer than it would take you to actually watch the movie?
Do you sit with your friends and rant at great length about things you're passionate about?
You may be interested in Shocked and Applaud.
Join us while we go through peculiar movies, traditional movies, movies that we just like, movies that we find are sort of like, huh?
Do we follow somebody on social media and then they posted about a movie and we're just going to watch it now?
Sure, why not? Our podcast is completely unscripted, so you're going to stumble through things with us because we stumble a lot.
We're going to laugh, we're going to talk about what's problematic, but really it comes down to talking about movies.
You can visit us at shockedandapplaud.com, on Twitter at shockedapplaud, and Facebook at Shocked and Applaud.
We hope to see you there.
I'm Bo Maddox.
And I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And this is Collateral Cinema at the Movies.
Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it.
And you're definitely going to want to smoke it for these movies. I mean, because I'm going to kind of make... I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of a hot take on this movie, but it's Thor Love and Thunder, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of feel that these are like stoner movies.
You mean like Waititi's Ragnarok and Love and Thunder?
Yeah, Ragnarok and Love, like specifically Taika Waititi's movies. These are stoner movies all the way through.
The closest thing I think that the MCU has to stoner movies, for sure. I totally respect that, and I agree with it. So Love and Thunder, of course, the comparisons to Ragnarok are going to be all over the place because of all the hype and whatnot. But, you know, I came into this movie, you know, completely open-minded. I'd already heard both things about it, and I gotta say, I fucking love it. Waititi knocks it out of the park again. The question is it better than Ragnarok? Well, we'll talk about that, I guess, this episode.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't even really see Ragnarok before I saw Love and Thunder.
No, but I made you watch it.
Yeah, well, we watched it after the fact. I mean, so I will say this, that maybe my take on it might be, you know, a little colored by that, you know, since I didn't see Ragnarok to put it in context with Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
But honestly, I enjoyed both movies, even watching them, you know, out of turn.
This one makes a lot of callbacks to it. So, you know, I think the comparison is fair. You've got the same director, and he actually promised that this was a better movie. Taika said something to that effect, you know, like that he really thought that they were going greater places. He hyped it up. And, yeah, so, you know, you come into this movie with some expectations, and I'm not going to say he failed to deliver on anything, really. There's been some complaints thrown out about, I think, the pacing, which I guess I understand, don't have an issue with, because Ragnarok kind of is the same with its pacing, especially in the beginning.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, some other complaints that have been thrown out have been aimed at, you know, the humor maybe being like taking too much, and, you know, the fact that they made a joke out of every serious moment is so what people are saying. I don't agree. I thought that the humor was actually balanced.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I mean, I think that it is really important for the MCU to have movies like this that are more or less like, you know, raucous stoner comedies in a way, you know?
Right.
I mean, it adds levity to everything, you know, that just was not really there in the other Thor movies. It's kind of why I don't really care for the other Thor movies, maybe except for, Ragnarok in the first one, But I mean, these two movies.
So Bo, you don't care for the Dark World, is what you're saying?
No, I don't really care for that one at all.
That's
I
the
really
only
don't.
other one.
I know it's the only other one, but it's just like I'm kind of counting his appearances in the Avengers a little bit there.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, compared to all of that, it's like, yeah, Dark Worlds is the weakest, and maybe his role in the first in Infinity Saga or in Infinity War.
Oh, I thought Thor was great in Infinity War.
He was better in Endgame.
But he was even better. I love the character.
Yeah, I felt that he was way better in Endgame.
Well, and you got to remember, Infinity War Thor was written before Hemsworth had intervened and decided to make the character match that of Ragnarok Thor, and that was kind of last minute. So,
okay.
With that in perspective, we know that the character wasn't originally written in the same tone, and Hemsworth kind of just threw that in for continuity on his own, right? Endgame, really, they actually ran with it. They made some changes. They decided to write it that way, taking that into account, and that's why it worked. And that's why this movie feels like a perfect continuation of his character in Endgame. I mean, you really are, and it starts off exactly in the place where the character was left. He's journeying with the Guardians. We get a 5-minute montage scene, and we get some additional dialogue between them. And then, I'll go ahead and say the Guardians exit the movie very quickly.
Yeah.
And then we get to the rest of it. But during the moment that they're on screen, we kind of get everything that we want out of a Thor and Guardians. We even get kind of a training montage scene of him getting into shape, losing the dad bod,
It's perfect. And he also has that hat, it's supposed to be like all of the Avengers, the strongest Avenger. He just crosses all of them out, and it just keeps Thor there, like strongest Avenger.
Strongest, yes.
Like
I love it because, and that's again a callback to his last film, with the last solo venture, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
There was a gag about that, and I love that Waititi makes so many callbacks to his own work and also to the MCU at large and Thor's journey up to that point. The comics, some of the scenes in this movie were taken straight up out of the comics. There's that one shot that's in the trailer of them looking over that huge beast that's like
he's been murdered.
It has been duplicated near perfectly from a comic panel. It is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. We watched one of the videos. I think it was that Easter egg video.
We watched a breakdown video, but I've seen that pointed out too, like back when the trailer came out, people were talking about it.
I mean, of course, I don't have that context to go off of because I never was a huge fan of any of those comics growing up at any time.
Me either, but
I mean, just seeing that just ginormous fucking like lizard creature. It's like it almost looks like an SCP that's just died and it's been terminated,
It's a cool fucking shot.
It really is. It's badass. It's actually kind of metal even.
Yeah, and an exact duplication of a comic book shot, which is super cool.
And when I actually saw that comparison, it's like, man, it's like almost sketch perfect pretty much. Like,
yeah. And Taika, he deviates from the comics quite a bit. I mean, even back in Ragnarok, changing Hela from being in both the original Norse mythology and in the Marvel Comics universe, being his daughter to his, their sister. There have been changes like that. And then this one of the big things was Gore's appearance, which apparently was changed somewhat so that he didn't look too much like Voldemort.
That was a concern that Waititi brought up, like specifically. And it does ring true. I mean, there's just no way that they could make the makeup look any, different from Voldemort. I mean, I don't see how they could have done it.
Yeah, I mean, and they didn't do the tentacles. I think that's really what people were kind of complaining about, but I don't care. That doesn't bother me. I thought that Bale was one of the standout performances in this movie.
I can't help but think that Christian Bale was just like, I'll do this, but no fucking tentacles, please. It's like he's the one who specifically cut the tentacles. I have a feeling.
I actually would believe that. Yeah, no, Bale is phenomenal. Bale and Portman are the standout performances in this movie. But Christian Bale just completely brings it his all with Gore the God Butcher, which, by the way, the film opens up with.
Yeah,
his
and-
origin.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a really good cold opening. You know, it actually didn't have any of the logos or anything beforehand. Like you just go right into it, like from like the previous, the beginning of the movie. You know?
Right.
Like what the theater shows you and everything. But I mean, I really like how he's just so desperate, so desolate. I mean, his daughter is her life is on the line, and he's just desperately trying to find his deity, and then he finally finds him, and he becomes disillusioned.
Yeah, I know, it's metal as fuck.
It is. It's metal. He kills a fucking god.
By the
That's
way,
straight up deicide. There's a band called Deicide,
yeah,
and they are metal as fuck.
that is metal. Let's go kill God. Are we gonna go on a JRPG adventure where we kill God?
Yeah, that's right. We go and we kill a bunch of gods, and we meet our childhood friend who ends up being our love interests, and we get big ass swords and guns and everything. And then we start wearing ridiculous armor that ups our stats, man. We've got to do it.
Got to do it. Unless
Yeah.
you're a woman, then it's skimpier armor.
Skimpier armor, but the stats are like just insane
Insane.
somehow.
But yeah, no, the movie opens up with Gore. Right off the bat, we get to see the villain origin story. Of course, everybody knows Gore is the guy that like his family dies, and he decides that the gods have abandoned him, and he's gonna kill all the gods. Right? That's basically what happens. His daughter dies.
Well, he
and
he pretty much gets full on confirmation that the gods do not fucking care.
do
about
not give
him.
a fuck.
No.
And you very quickly see that change. By the way, his daughter is played by Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter, India.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's actually a theme in this entire fucking movie, is that almost all of the cast, their kids are in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost surprised that the kid that played Axel wasn't actually Idris Elba's kid. I'm surprised that wasn't the case.
Yeah, well, Thor's daughter, his sons play him
Yeah.
as a child.
Yeah.
I know Natalie Portman's kids were involved, were some of the Asgardian children, Taika Waititi's children, and apparently some of the other.
I'm pretty sure
cast members.
Waititi's daughter is
Christian
the one.
Bale.
I'm sure that one of Waititi's daughters is the one that has the bunny.
Maybe, I don't know. This movie managed to make a scene, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's spoiler territory, but
Yeah.
it's a scene that could have gone a lot more cringe, and it actually wasn't. It was fucking awesome.
It really was.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like it's just a total power up, and everything just goes crazy. It's.
I mean, you think
awesome.
about it, and you're like, that's kind of stupid, but you're having such fun with it, and it's like, who gives a fuck?
Oh yeah, in many ways it is a stupid movie, but it's gleefully
It's
stupid.
fun, stupid.
It's-
Yeah, no, and it's smart too. It's stupid in a sense of like, oh my god, like this stretches. You know what I mean? It's goofy, but the story itself, and the characters are written smartly, and that's what Waititi excels at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something that Ragnarok does, is that it has a plan. It knows where it's going to go with its characters and where to put them. And I've heard some people say that Love and Thunder has less of a plan, but I think it does have a plan. It's just a very different one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because they had to go through the and address the actual relationship path between Jane and Thor, more or less. I mean,
Right.
that had to come back, and that had to be a thing, especially if you were going to get Lady Thor in here.
It's a romance story at its heart, and Waititi even, he actually said that before the movie came out.
Yeah, it's pretty much a psychedelic stoner rom-com.
Yeah,
Pretty much, that's what it is.
It's great, and you've got the romantic comedy, elements with the relationship between Thor and Jane, and then it'll cut back into your typical Marvel action, and then you've got the fucking love triangle between Thor and Mjolnir and Stormbreaker,
That is the best thing ever.
which is a running gag in this movie.
It really-
it is just
it
like
really
the
is.
fucking meme of the guy looking at the other girl, like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, Thor, he's constantly trying to get Mjolnir back, and it's just like, no, Stormbreaker is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, straight up, like, at one point, even just kind of floats up and kind of confronts Thor head on, like, face on,
Right. And the thing is that Mjolnir has decided to employ itself to Jane. You know, like Mjolnir has Jane Foster is now the new owner of Mjolnir. Something that was teased, announced the minute that the film was announced.
Yeah, yeah, and I like how it's very subtle how they explain how Mjolnir finds Jane worthy. You know, it's because of Thor because he's absorbed Odin's powers. He's kind of he kind of extends that charm that he put on it. You know,
exactly
extends it to Jane. So
right.
That's actually a really cool little moment, and it pays big dividends later on in the story.
Pays off later on.
Pays
right.
off.
We
Yeah.
get to see Thor actually tapping into some of those powers, that he has, not only as an Asgardian, but as the son of Odin, right?
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I think that's what makes hits this movie for me. And, it made some scenes just work so much better than, they could have gone. But I love that we're doing the Mighty Thor Jane storyline here, where we have Jane, and that's ripped straight from the comics. She has cancer, but she also has Mjolnir, and it's making things worse, but she's, not dying, but she's Thor. She's not Lady Thor. They make a point of that in the movie too.
She's Thor. She is a Thor.
The Mighty Thor,
She's the Mighty Thor.
It's funny because that actually was Thor's epithet before, but it's now become like her name. So
yeah,
whatever, we'll run with it. But she's the Mighty Thor, okay, just to differentiate, and she's on equal footing with him, and so I think that's why the chemistry works so much better between Chris Hemsworth and between Natalie Portman in this movie than they did before, because it was just very by the numbers. Was it unbelievable? No. Did they? I mean, the actors worked, but it just felt like they were reading lines. In this movie, we actually see genuine chemistry, and I had heard that Natalie Portman decided to actually rejoin the franchise after talking to Taika Waititi, and by putting her on equal footing with Thor, and so she's no longer fawning over, the hot man god. It's more so like they have another dynamic that they can explore. And I think
now they're on equal footing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, can I say that it was totally based of Hemsworth to not eat meat for a few days before doing the kiss with Natalie Portman? That's been reported now.
You know what?
So,
that actually
because Natalie Portman
based.
is vegan, also based.
I'm
by the
not
way.
vegan, as our listeners will know, but I actually think that is kind of based. That's
Total based.
very
moment.
based of him.
Hell yeah. And Natalie Portman is a based vegan, so.
Natalie Portman, by the way, fucking
God damn, yeah, she's amazing in this movie, honestly.
mommy, sorry.
This motherfucker. God damn it, man. God damn it.
But you know what? They let Thor be man candy in this movie. You know what I'm going to say? Like, regardless of the way that you feel about, the movie, you paid somewhere between $10 to $15 to see Chris Hemsworth's ass.
Uh-huh, you gotta show ass to sell movie.
Got to show ass to sell movie, Greg.
Exactly, Greg.
You can't complain, man. You got to see Chris Hemsworth's ass. And Natalie Portman just being a total fucking badass.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. I mean, every scene that she's in, I mean, she just takes the lead. And honestly, she's more dynamic than even Hemsworth in the role as Thor,
Right.
I mean, and just the fact that she still has that duality there, like she's actually still dying and everything, but, Mjolnir kind of powered her up because of the whole charm and everything. So it's like it's this dynamic, whereas she only has so much time, but she's at least useful in her
Right.
own way. She's found out that she can actually help Thor, by
Right.
being Thor.
Right, exactly. And it is actually just a lot better. I think Taika Waititi does a love story better than Kenneth Branagh or whoever the fuck did Dark World.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't think any of the Thor movies are bad movies. I don't think any of the MCU movies are bad movies, but there are some that are definitely weaker than others. And Thor: The Dark World, gets the rap as the worst MCU movie. It may be the weakest one. It's kind of hard for me to say. It's definitely down there.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. I mean, it actually, as far as character development goes, it kind of set the started the process of Loki's character development. That's something interesting, right? I mean, we've got actually the first Thor movie without Loki.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston. So, so that's a question of, can this movie, can a Thor movie carry without that dynamic, which Ragnarok played really well?
Yeah.
Can we focus on something else? Can we do Thor and Jane? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting that, we don't have Tom Hiddleston in this movie. That adds a completely different dynamic to everything,
Exactly.
I mean,
but
yeah.
he had his own character journey in Loki, and them experiencing those separate character journeys, I think, is going to pay off.
Yeah.
If these
definitely.
characters, meet, and inevitably, I think they will.
Oh, without a doubt, they will.
We'll get Loki variant.
Loki variant is going to show up, or at least Thor's going to show up in Loki or something.
Right. So I'm excited to see that, and to see maybe have Thor show up in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, I know they parted ways, but if you really want to capitalize on that dynamic, not as much of a role as maybe the Guardians were in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe have some montages that kind of shows what's been happening with them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Something, I don't know. It would be cool because you get a little bit of that dynamic in this movie, but I would definitely love to see it explored more. Of course, we also have Tessa Thompson playing Valkyrie, or Brunhild, I think is her actual name. But
to me,
superhero
she was a real breakout in Ragnarok. To me, like she was
Yeah.
like very notable. Her and Waititi as Korg.
I think she had a little bit more of a role in Ragnarok. In fact, it almost feels like something happened and they had to cut her out of the last act of the movie.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to
Yeah.
get into it, but you did think that was odd, right? How like they kind of just cut her role short there, and it's like something must have happened behind the scenes.
I really can't speculate, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not really that privy to those types of politics behind the scenes and whatnot when it comes to these movies.
Well, I
but
just think maybe like scheduling conflicts or something.
it could have been something as simple as scheduling conflicts. Yeah. More than likely.
That's actually all I'm suggesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, but what time that she does have in the movie, and she is throughout at least the first couple acts of the movie.
I mean,
She does stand out on screen, and they kind of actually do explore her bisexuality as
Yeah.
promised.
Yeah.
It's not like a full blown side plot or anything. It's just kind of just peppered throughout, and it's fine. I think it totally works.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've liked the old dynamic where she's pretty much she's taken up the lead role in New Asgardia and has turned it into something way different than Asgard ever was. Which is more commercialized.
Yeah, the new Asgard that we got to see a bit of an Endgame. Now we see kind of explored in more detail, and we see this like tourist attraction.
It's a tourist trap now. It's like, what the fuck?
We even have the spot where Mjolnir, literally the same spot where it was in Ragnarok, because they couldn't remove it.
Yeah.
So the fragments are just there in like a little pedestal that they've built. And
it's all about, monument and, kind of making everything into an attraction or a museum or whatever,
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool to see, more of New Asgard and see, what's going on with, the kids that grow up here, and, how is that balanced, and how do Asgardians and regular people, tourists, interact? And it's actually pretty, I loved it. I love that aspect of it. I love that they spent as much time as they did with it.
Oh, definitely, And it's great to see the Asgardians, actually kind of take root somewhere and actually start to thrive.
Yeah.
After everything they had been through,
Oh, yeah, because, the Asgardians were fucking decimated in, Ragnarok. Most of the fighters, they even state that at the beginning of Infinity War, like we don't
Yeah.
really have any fighters on board. Everyone that's left are just, like the women and children and the non-fighters. And, and then that population was cut in half when Thanos attacked the Statesmen at the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And then once again, their population was halved with the snap and then restored again. But still, fuck, man, the Asgardians can't catch a break.
Yeah, but they're still so resilient, though.
Yeah.
Very resilient. And, it's good to see them kind of doing all right, at least until Gore shows up,
Right. So, and we still have this like post-snap, story, like where the timeline where the MCU currently is kept. And the snap isn't actually referenced as much, in this work as it is in others. In fact, there's no multiverse shenanigans to speak of. This is very much a standalone movie.
Yeah, I think this because there's just, starting to become some distance in universe from that event now,
Well, and Ragnarok was the same, but had oscillations.
Yeah.
And this movie does too, I think, by the end. I mean, implications for where Thor and Asgard are going to go in the future. But, I did. I forgot where I was going with this.
Stoner. Fucking stoner. God damn it. Yeah, but I think that I kind of get what you were saying, I mean, New Asgard is a compelling set piece, more or less, and it goes through even more bullshit, but they still stand strong.
Yeah, no, they do. So, and I think that, I was going to say, actually the only reference this movie actually makes to the blip at all, or the snap, is very subtle, and this line is in the trailer. But when Thor and Jane are musing about their relationship and it ending, and we get to see, and she asks, how long has it been? And he says like 8 years or 7 months and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh, how long, she thought it was just like 3 or 4 or 5 years or whatever, 3 or 4 years, whatever she said. And if you think about it, the math actually works out. She was blipped.
Yeah,
so for 5 years,
she was gone. Yeah,
that's why there's a discrepancy between. And I thought that was actually kind of a cool little reference. There's lots of little Easter eggs like that.
Oh yeah, all over this movie. Like especially when you start getting into more like Marvel lore when it comes to like the Celestials and whatnot and the gods and everything. It's like lots of lore here.
Lots of lore. I guess the Celestials are involved, but we can't say much more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I do love that the expansion of lore, because this movie does have serious implications about the gods. Because let's talk about that scene, in Omnipotent City where they meet all the other gods. You've got Russell Crowe as Zeus.
Woo! Oh man, he was great with a Greek accent and everything.
And so many fucking wacky gods from all sorts of cultures. And, just so many performances and Easter eggs. And just that one scene is really great.
But let's not forget the most mightiest god of all, Bao. The bun god.
Yeah, you'll have all seen the memes by now.
No, that is the one true god right there. My prediction is that the Zeus that we saw is just a projection of Zeus. That's why he didn't technically die, and the Zeus is actually just disguised as Bao.
Oh, that would be genius. Taika done it again.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be. But yeah, no, I love that we get a peek at, other gods exist. So it's not just the Asgardians. We're living in a much bigger universe or multiverse, really, than we've imagined. Moon Knight touched upon it, the idea of multiple gods and different afterlives. So, and this movie, dives into it even a little bit further.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to see, all these different types of gods interacting, which is funny because, earlier, I think in like the Dark World, they mentioned something like we're not gods, actually,
Yeah.
And this movie's kind of doubling down on, but actually they're gods.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So, and I think nothing actually has been, contradicted here. They are highly advanced beings that are worshipped as gods. And this movie even shows that to a deeper extent. They're called gods, but they're every bit as fallible as you or me.
Oh, very much so. Probably even more so because of their status as gods, I would say.
But, I mean, that's not even that far removed from Greek mythology, Roman mythology, you know?
It really isn't.
Norse mythology.
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, that's a clusterfuck of family bullshit, pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you get into Greek and Roman mythology.
Right.
Just like any of those patriarchal and matriarchal types of mythologies.
You know what? Russell Crowe is the Jeff Goldblum of this movie.
He is.
He kind of
totally.
takes the role of the Grandmaster as just kind of the antagonistic force that.
Unfortunately, which by the way, I had to interrupt. Unfortunately, we almost got the.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. When he got in shape, he went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon. Jane? The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been, like 3-4 years?
8 years, 7 months and 6 days, give or take.
Am I sensing feelings?
Well, you're right.
The only ones who gods care about is themselves.
So this is my vow. All gods will die. I was going to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
He's just my first bad guy.
Never forget you first.
Unlike the other gods of kill, you have something worth fighting
for. Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh, you flicked too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? Then eventually, great.
We almost got the Grandmaster again.
You know, and that was funny because I
We almost
remember
got
that
him.
was teased early on. A lot of this movie got cut, and Taika was actually pretty upfront about that.
Yeah.
Saying that, and apparently he thinks that director's cuts are bullshit, which kind of based actually.
I mean, I guess so.
I don't agree necessarily, but based nonetheless.
I mean, he needs to at least release the deleted scenes. Then
He should release the deleted scenes.
Don't pull a Kubrick on us, Waititi.
And we'll understand, you know, like this is not canon, you know, because, you know, we may want to take this character in a different direction or something to that effect. But, you know, yeah, release the deleted scenes. We need to see it. We don't. I guess we're not going to do a release the Waititi cut.
No,
but because he doesn't want that. But I think that, you know, Waititi should release the deleted scenes, or, you know, at least the ones with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
like the one, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
We got the return of Matt Damon Loki and Luke Hemsworth Thor, Sam Neill as Odin, and now Melissa McCarthy as Hela in yet another stage play reenactment of the previous film, just like Ragnarok did. So, you know, that was a lot of fun to see those performances once again, and, you know, even that expanded on and to work with that gag a little bit more, which, by the way, that was announced well before the movie coming out. So I knew that scene was coming, but nonetheless, you know, seeing it unfold in front of me and seeing Taika kind of almost parody his own work.
Yeah, it's a total parody almost. Actually,
it worked in Ragnarok because Dark World was bad, and I think Waititi realized that. But it also works in Love and Thunder because it's like he's just satirizing his own work. Like, that's fucking base as fuck.
Yeah, and in a way, he's satirizing the MCU again. You know, I mean, he's all the conventions that you usually see in these movies, like especially when you talk about like the Avengers movies and whatnot, like they're pretty much subverted in like both of these movies.
Yeah,
so many of them.
So many of, and also even taking, you know, the sacrifices that have come forth, and it, you know, there's that one scene, for instance. And this is another trailer shot. So if you zoom in on the trailer, you can look and see on Thor's back, there's an R.I.P. Loki.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's actually, it's really interesting to see where this character has come and him questioning that and him starting, you know, like continuing on the path that was mentioned, you know, at the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
And exploring that. And I think that this movie, you know, kind of fulfills that character journey. If this were the last solo Thor film, it would work. I would love to see Chris Hemsworth return and do another Thor, though. In fact, you know, we obviously know that at some point that is happening.
It will happen. Yeah, we're going to get Thor again.
Right.
I mean, I think that it's a given. But, I mean, we already got an announcement for the next couple of phases of MCU films.
This is true, actually. This just happened today as of the time of recording. But you know, obviously the new announcement with the phase 5 and 6 titles announced. Phases 4 through 6 are now going to be called the Multiverse Saga, and Phase 4 is actually ending with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that was actually something that took a lot of people by surprise. Believe it or not, they were just like, "Oh, okay, so the phase is already over." It's like, "Oh,
right.
Okay." Which makes sense because it does have a lot of content in this current phase. Like if you factor in the Disney Plus shows.
It's kind of like, yeah, I mean, we released a bunch of shit. It went a lot faster, but, you know, they've been keeping us satiated. And, you know, between that and between all like the Star Wars content, which is doing the same thing, it's actually an effective strategy. I like what Marvel and Disney are doing with, you know, the series and the movies working together to tell a story. You can take characters that work better in a feature film and throw them in a feature film. You can take characters and stories that work better in a serial format and do that. So I'm, you know, it's actually totally fitting that we've got Moon Knight and then followed by that, you know, Ms. Marvel and then Thor: Love and Thunder. You know, and this movie was released actually, you know, between I think you know, the last few episodes of Ms. Marvel. So you've got those things running concurrently, and that's crazy to think about, you know, just juxtaposing those two events.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a different era for the MCU, you know? I mean, the multiverse saga so far has started off with an interesting angle, like especially with Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and a lot of the films that, or I guess, you know, a couple of the films that were slated for Phase 4 have now been moved to Phase 5, so we're going to open up Phase 5 with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Another one that I'm excited about, we're getting Guardians Volume 3, which is probably the one that I'm most excited about next.
Yeah. And isn't Inhumans coming in somewhere there? Or am I mistaken? That's going to be later.
They haven't announced that they're doing anything with the Inhumans.
Oh, well, okay then.
Yeah, because, I mean, they did the TV series, and I think they're trying to distance themselves from that and try to figure out like what they're going to do before they drop Inhumans.
Yeah.
And do anything. But yeah, no, like I'm super stoked to see where the MCU goes from here. Like I think that the MCU is thriving. If you were worried that, you know, Endgame was kind of the end of that peak, it wasn't. You know, No Way Home, for instance, you know, again, reached just mind-blowing levels of hype and taking these characters in interesting places. And I would argue that you know, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder really pushed the envelope as well.
They really did. I mean, especially as far as pure entertainment value out of these stories and out of these characters as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and especially getting directors like Raimi and Waititi to just make movies that they want to make with these characters.
I think that's what I like. You know, some of my favorite Marvel films are the ones where you take a director who has a particular style, let them run away with it. They let Taika Waititi do it. They let James Gunn do it, you know, and they let Sam Raimi do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that is incredible. That's what the MCU is about. And I think that having movies that fulfill so many different genres, even within the superhero genre.
Yeah, and then there's the big thing where Disney Plus finally released Logan and the first 2 Deadpool movies, fully R-rated.
We've got the first R-rated films on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Like, geez. and it's like, that bodes well for the future of the MCU, that hopefully we will start getting more adult-oriented movies.
Deadpool 3 is supposed to be R-rated.
And that's going to be MCU?
From what I heard, yes.
Excellent.
From what I heard, at least Marvel Studios. And then from what I heard, Blade is not going to be R-rated, so I hope that they change that.
No,
and that
change that immediately. Blade has to be R-rated. It has to be.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to do it with Deadpool, do it with Blade. Come on. It deserves it. But yeah, I'm excited about that. So that's coming out in Phase 4. And then we are getting in Phase 6, Avengers, the King Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars.
That's going to be interesting.
They're going to cap off Phase 6. Fantastic Four is coming in Phase 6.
Oh, wow. No shit.
No mention of anything mutants yet, which is interesting because the mutants have been hinted at in more than one work.
Well, give it time. I'm sure that we will have some type of news about that. So
yeah, I think so. And also Spider-Man, because I think that somewhere between phases 5 and 6, we will get at least the next Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland.
Yeah, he didn't want to do them for a little while, and that's that I respect that and everything. But eventually, yeah, we are going to have to get a continuation of that.
Well, I think he announced he is going to keep doing it. He's just for right now, he's taking a break and he's not thinking about it. He's not contracted anything. Nothing's in the works at the moment. But I want to say that he is going to continue to do it. Now, whether or not we're going to get some of the other actors.
Yeah, Garfield and McGuire.
Yeah,
so, that'd be interesting.
Well, no, I know they're not going to be in it, but
no, I'm talking about them getting their own movies.
They should.
Yeah, like outside of the MCU, like totally.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield need to get their own. Like no. Like they need to get
they need to get the conclusion to their stories.
The one thing Sony can do to redeem themselves right now is just go ahead and do Spider-Man 4 and The Amazing Spider-Man 3. If you want to tie Amazing Spider-Man 3 to your Sony verse,
I demand that they do this so that they can have Morbius in it.
Yes,
I demand this. We need the Spider-Man to get morbed.
We need Andrew Garfield versus Morbius.
That would be the most amazing thing in the history of the world. Like straight up. Andrew Garfield, the Spidey versus fucking Morbius. Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Because, it is still Morbin time.
It's always Morbin time.
It's always Morbin time. We thought we killed the meme, but I don't know. The meme's persisting.
You know what my favorite part of this movie was? When Jane was trying to come up with catchy with a catchphrase.
A catchphrase, yeah.
And she came out and she said, "It's Thorbin time."
It's Thorbin time. And then eventually she was just like, it's Portman time.
It's Portman time. What if that's what she whispered in his ear?
That would be immortal. That'd be the greatest line in history of anything. If they actually show that it's like, it's Thorbin time.
You know that apparently Taika Waititi doesn't know what she says there?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Funny story. And if you watch the movie, you'll know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And if you have watched it, then you do know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
But I guess we'll sort of wrap things up here. Anything else to add? Any final thoughts about Thor: Love and Thunder?
Get really, really high and watch both Ragnarok and Love and the Thunder. You will not be disappointed there. Because like I said, these are the stoner movies of the MCU. If you approach it that way, it actually makes a lot more sense. And Love and Thunder makes a lot more sense. Because, I mean, even with the Outrun, look and everything and kind of the 80s vibe, with with the Guns N' Roses and whatnot.
The Guns N' Roses, man. We didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about
soundtrack. That, that just makes it a stoner movie just by proxy right there.
Most of the soundtrack was Guns N' Roses, and I am fucking here for it.
Totally. Yeah. It fits in with the themes of the movie, and it fits in with, just what, just the comeback that Thor had after, dad bod Thor. So, it was really cool.
Yeah, no.
And honestly, yeah, at the end, Sweet Child of Mine, it actually was very moving.
See, and I'm a sucker for November Rain.
Yeah, you would be the type of song that listen to that long ass fucking dredge of a song.
Oh, I love it. That the riff, at the end, just it gets me. But and I think the movie does capitalize on it, and it's great. But as far as my final thoughts go,
I'm gonna expand on that. November Rain, especially given with what happens near the end of the movie, it would have been way too on the nose. It would have been way too on the nose to really make sense. It actually would have detracted from the movie. That's what I think. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Watch both Ragnarok and Love and Thunder together if you can, and get very, very high while doing it. Preferably. Yeah, definitely. And how about you, Ash? What are your thoughts?
So, yeah, honestly, this movie really works as a companion piece with Ragnarok. If you get really stoned and you just watch both movies back to back, wait for this movie to go streaming if you don't think that you're all that excited to go to the theater to see it, or if you're still on the fence. I would say, maybe wait and wait till it comes out on Disney Plus, stream both of those together, or fuck it, do Thor's journey from, Ragnarok, through Infinity War, Endgame, and Love and Thunder, because I think that sequence works as well.
Yeah,
and you don't really even have to start with the first two Thor movies.
and Love and Thunder, it's the perfect cap to that whole arc right there.
Yeah,
it's the perfect way to kind of end everything.
Yeah, so they start Thor on a character arc, which we had thought was concluded in Endgame. I think they even mentioned that, and in this movie seemed to even kind of to bookend that.
Yeah,
give us sort of an epilogue, and I really appreciate that. I think it's really nice, and then that's not to say that Thor's done. It's just the next chapter. Where are they going to take this character? In the future, I don't think he'll be as centerpiece to the MCU as before, but we'll see. I mean, we've still got a couple of Avengers movies.
I'm sure that he will definitely be there for the Avengers.
I think it would be criminal if he doesn't at least make an appearance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm down for more Waititi and Chris Hemsworth as well. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be cool to see them work with something outside of the MCU. That would actually be pretty cool.
I mean, that too, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, this movie's a total fucking blast. Okay, so the question, do I love it more than Ragnarok? I can't say I love it more than Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok, just hits a lot of high notes really, really well. But I will say this movie has a lot of heart, and it connected to me as a father.
Yeah.
And it did something special that Ragnarok didn't, to its credit.
Totally.
So...
Yeah. But anyway, Ash, what's going on with Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming?
Well, we are in the season break right now. We're in between seasons 5 and 6 of Collateral Cinema. So, but stick around. I mean, I guess we're gonna start out season 6 with the Human Centipede.
Yeah, we're gonna make that kind of tentative, but yeah, we're gonna start it off.
Tentative? What?
I don't know. There was mention of the Monster Squad.
Okay,
it's that could be a good first one. I don't know. I heard mention of that somewhere. Or I think Robert brought it up or something.
All right, whatever. I'm down for anything. But
and then do Human Centipede. But it would probably be best to because this season that we're about to do, season 6. Let me say, I'm starting to program it now. This is going to be the fun season.
Yeah. It's
absolutely going to be a fun season. We have all kinds of stuff from the 90s. We've got, some good, gushy horror films. We have, some classics from the 80s in the 90s. Like I said, it's going to be great.
Fuck yeah.
Really. And, hopefully Robert comes up with his other picks here very soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to some of the things that I picked out for this season. As far as what we're doing until then, any new movies that are coming out that are worth talking about. I think, as far as superhero films go, Black Adam kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, that could be something interesting to check out.
Could be. And I I don't know. I think we should do a movie recommendations episode before the end of the season.
That would be good. And also, we still have coming up very soon, we're going to have a couple of guest spots. We're going to do a interview on Geek Freaks. We're still going to do the Cowboy Bebop episode with Retro Anime Podcast. So, guys, if you're listening, hit us up on the Discord. We can get this going here pretty soon. I believe we're going to be doing another live stream with Victims and Villains, another awareness-a-thon in September. And I think we decided what the movie was, right? We're doing Cool Cat Saves the Day.
Cool Cat!
Daddy
Derek!
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be talking about that on the live stream. So, yeah, look forward for that. And, yeah, look forward for Season 6. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm fucking stoked. As far as Collateral Gaming goes, we are wrapping up our season with Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade. Whenever we get around to that, I was hoping to get that out this week, but it didn't work out. But, yeah, anyway, part 2 of that should be out very soon, if not by the time this is released. And then that wraps up Season 4 of Collateral Gaming. We are opening up in September with Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, that means that you need to get to playing it.
Yes.
Like
yes,
immediately. Because, I mean, it is such a fantastic game. I love that game so much.
I know you do. But... yeah, guys, hit us up on our social media channels. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. By the way, a little bit of an announcement here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're expanding a little bit. Right?
We are expanding.
That's right. We are excited to announce that we are about to record the pilot episode of Collateral Records, a music podcast. And it's with our friend Megan Price.
And Matt Ryan as well.
And Matt Ryan as well from the old Country Club days. Yeah. So look forward for that. It's going to be a monthly podcast. Like I think it's going to be like one episode a month.
One episode a month is all we're committing to at the moment.
Yeah.
So because right between that and our other podcasts and our daily lives, but I am really excited about it. More information is going to be coming out about that very soon, and as soon as possible, I'd like to get our pilot out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We're going to have to get that recorded very soon.
So I'm really excited about that. Stay tuned for social media channels. Pending in regards to that, we've designed the logo and shed, and we're kind of working out how the first season is going to run, but it's going to be a blast. I'm going to love to be exposed to more music content, content in the world of music that, like I've been with the world of cinema with this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been illuminating, right?
It has been.
Yep.
And on that note, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube.
And also find us on Good Pods. Follow us there. Listen to our podcast there. It's great for finding indie podcasts of all types, all genres. And like our stuff and help us climb the indie podcast charts. Like we chart there from time to time, and we're always thankful for that. So yeah, check us out there, and also check us out on Patreon. We have $1 and $5 tiers, and we have exclusive full-length feature commentaries for movies like The Room. I believe we did Freddy Got Fingered.
And we should work on some of those
during
the break.
We're going to probably do the Buttercream Gang. I think that's going to be an official...
That has to be done.
Yeah, that's going to be an official Patreon commentary. And it will be a perfect side piece to our Second Glance free commentary.
We're getting buttercreamed.
We're getting buttercreamed and then Morbid the Morbs. That's what we're doing. Fucking A. So yeah, look for that, and as Ash said, all of our social media and on all of the other podcast apps.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking A.
So yeah, super fun movie. Totally enjoyed, Christian Bale, super menacing. Love Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth's chemistry, just overall super fun. And this was a super fun episode.
It was. This was a great episode. I had a lot of fun.
Also, we didn't even talk about Korg. My man Korg.
Oh, Korg. Yeah, what the fuck,
Taika Waititi's Korg. Actually, that's really all you have to say is Korg is there, and he's exactly the same Korg that we met in Ragnarok, and for that little scene in Endgame, he is Korg. He is wholesome. He is the best thing that's ever come out of the MCU.
And I'm going to just say it right now. It's Korgan time.
It's Korgan time.
It's Korgan time, man.
I think that's the perfect note to end that on.
Exactly. It is. So with that, I'm Bo Maddox.
And I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And this was Collateral Cinema at the Movies. Check out Thor Love and Thunder, y'all. Laters. Oh, yeah, and fuck SCOTUS as well. Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.